Welcome to the hearing officer meeting for Tuesday, September 5th, 2017. Good afternoon. My name is David Williams. I am the hearing officer for the City of Tempe, and today's meeting is called to order. The City of Tempe hearing officer is authorized by Arizona Revised Statute and the City of Tempe Zoning and Development Code, and he has the duty to carry out the provisions and intent of the city's adopted general plan and zoning and development code. The hearing officer is granted the authority to conduct public hearings to review and either approve, continue, deny, or approve with conditions several types of cases and applications, including use permits, variances, and property abatements. On today's modified agenda, we have 4 items to be heard, and consisting of 1 set of meeting minutes, 2 abatement cases requested by the city, and 1 review of compliance with assigned conditions of approval from a previously approved use permit. Agenda item number 2 and agenda item number 5, that's the Barber property and the Hisamura property, were originally listed on the agenda, and they have been removed from today's agenda as those properties are now in compliance with city code. As the hearing officer, I have reviewed the City of Tempe Community Development Department report on each of the cases or issues on today's agenda, and I consider this information at the meeting and use this report during deliberations. Additionally, I have driven by each of the properties that are on today's agenda to look at the existing conditions of the property and immediately adjacent conditions on neighboring properties and the immediate vicinity. To all applicants and interested citizens, when your request is called or when you wish to address the hearing officer, please step up to the microphone at the front of the room and state your name and city of residence. If you are a person other than the applicant and you wish to speak about the case on today's agenda, you should complete a white speaker card. Those are located both at the front of the room by the podium and also in the back by the door. And please turn in that white speaker card when you come up to address the hearing officer. Appreciate that very much. Each person is given about 3 minutes to speak. Any person who might be aggrieved by a decision the hearing officer makes today may file an appeal within 14 calendar days after the hearing officer has made a decision. As such, the deadline for filing appeals from decisions that are made at today's meeting is 3 p.m. September 19th, 2017. That deadline is 3 p.m. September 19th. Appeals of the decisions of the hearing officer are either heard by the Board of Adjustment or the Development Review Commission, whichever body is appropriate to the type of case that's being appealed. In the case of an abatement, if the property owner fails to file an appeal or fails to bring the property into compliance by this date, the code violations addressed at the hearing today will be abated by the City of Tempe. In the introductions, a couple people I'd like to introduce before we get started. Over to my right, Steve Abrahamson, our principal planner, Diane McGuire, administrative assistant, and Dean Miller, planner 2. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go right ahead with the agenda, and we'll start with item number 2. Item number 1, consideration of the minutes from our previous hearing officer meeting. Our last meeting was August 15th. I have reviewed the meeting minutes from that meeting, and they are accurate as written, and they are hereby approved. Thank you, staff. As I mentioned, item number 2 will not be heard today as that property is in compliance, so we are now at agenda item number 3, and this is a request for approval to abate public nuisance items at the Seabass property located at 508 West Brown Street. The applicant is the City of Tempe. All right, Mr. Heredia.
Good afternoon. My name is Hector Heredia. I'm a code inspector for Community Development Code Enforcement, and I am here seeking on a 180-day open abatement at property 508 West Brown Street, Tempe, Arizona 85281. And this this portion in our process is being initiated by 0 attempts to make any type of communication, 0 attempts to correct any type of violations at the property, and after being found responsible for a citation that was issued for that same neglect. That's why I'm here today, and I'm hoping for approval.
Okay, so my usual question is, have you had any contact? And you've addressed that. They have not responded to the city at all
No
regarding these
contact,
violations?
only minimal contact was made, a knock on the door where the tenant, and I want to say a son of the property owner, answered, understood the consequences that could be initiated by his neglect, but never tried to update a plan of action, never did anything about the violation, and that's why we are here today.
Very good, I understand. And just for the record, how far back does this go?
It approximately goes back about 3 months. The first notice was issued 6/1 of 17, and the second final was issued on 7/5 of 17.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I visited the property today, noticed the conditions are certainly remaining there, as well as some refuge and trash they seem to like to accumulate in the front yard. Thank you very much. I appreciate your report,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Is there anyone in the hearing officer in the hearing room today that wanted to speak on this case? This is agenda item 3 on the Seabass property. I'm not seeing anyone in the audience to represent this case or respond to it. Having inspected the property personally and heard a report from city staff, compliance staff, the requests for approval to abate the public nuisance items for a continuous 180-day period are hereby approved as requested. And thank you
Very
for
much.
your
Have a nice evening.
report today.
Thank you.
Next on today's agenda is agenda item number 4. This is also a property abatement case to approve approval to abate public nuisance items at the Hall property. This is CE 174555 is the case number. It's located at 1248 West 10th Place. The applicant is the city of Tempe. Mr. Lara Reyes.
Yes, good afternoon. Name is Andres Lara Reyes with the City of Tempe Code Enforcement Division. I'm here to request a abatement, one-time abatement, removal of a type of machinery in the backyard. This complaint has been open since September of last year, 2016. The owner has been issued several correction notices and 1 citation. And the property as of today, this morning, remains in violation. Machinery still in the backyard. This is the property at 1248 West 10th Place in Tempe, A5281. Again, hope to get an approval to remove this item from the backyard in 2 weeks, possible.
Okay, thank you. Is it just related to the machinery, or is it more with refuge and trash as well? There were some maintenance issues apparent in the front and side yard.
No, for right now, it's just the machinery. We haven't received any additional complaints regarding any other issues regarding the landscape and trash and debris.
Okay. And as you indicated, this case has been going on for a little bit of time.
Yes, almost a year, yes.
Yeah, I see that back to at least November or October
Yeah.
of 2016.
Yes.
Okay. And any recent contact with the property owner?
No, when we went to a court hearing for a citation, he was found responsible. He paid the fine. I explained to him outside the court that we needed to correct this violation within 2 weeks to avoid any further citations or possibly abatement, and I never heard back from him.
Okay.
So, and that's where we stand today.
Thank you very much for your
Yeah.
report. Appreciate your work.
Thank you.
Is there anyone at the hearing today who wanted to speak on agenda item number 4, an abatement case for the Hall property on West 10th Place? Not seeing anyone here to represent that case. Having visited the property and found those conditions to be persisting, and understanding the recommendation of our compliance folks, the request to approve abatement for these public nuisance items for an open period. This one wasn't open 180. Is that true? Yeah. For a period of 180-day open abatement is approved as requested. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon. See you.
Okay. As mentioned previously, agenda item number 5 has been withdrawn because that property was brought into compliance. We will move on to agenda item 6 for today's hearing, which is a request related to review of compliance with assigned conditions of approval for a use permit that was approved on December 1st, 2015 for a Massage Hookah Lounge at 1630 East Apache Boulevard, Suite 103. This is case PL 150447. And let me see. Mr. Miller, why don't we have a staff report?
Thank you, Mr. Williams. My name is Dean Miller. I'm a planner with the City of Tempe, and I'm here to present this case. Give you a little bit of history. On December 1st, 2015, the applicant received approval from the hearing officer to operate, for a use permit to operate a tobacco retailer hookah lounge at this location. The approval of the use permit conditioned that the applicant return within 6 months of commencing full operation of the business for review of compliance of the conditions of approval. On May 3rd, 2017, the business owner informed staff that the first day of business commenced on January 14th, 2017. Staff reviewed the conditions of approval and visited the site. Staff identified specific conditions that were not met regarding the condition of the site. These conditions were noted as 11, 12, 14, and 15 of this report. The conditions reference landscape deficiencies, unauthorized lighting, bicycle parking racks, and a parking file update. Staff postponed the scheduling of this review to allow the applicant to work with the property owner and help with these conditions, or these 4 specific conditions. To date, the business owner has reported that he has not been successful working with the property owner to gain compliance on these conditions. Number 14, the bicycle rack was in place. It was located kind of in an odd area of the site, kind of off in the corner where it would not be used efficiently, but it is present. So we do not have a concern with the bicycle parking at this point.
Okay, anything else? How about public comment to date? I noticed there was an email of concern back when this was originally approved. Any comment this go around in public email, phone calls, or otherwise?
We had no public input whatsoever. We did get a report back from the police department with no incidents. Fire department reported they did get their clearance. Building safety clearances were obtained. The other conditions, which are several, have been met. The ones that were in control of the applicant. The 3 conditions we're concerned with appear to be in control of the property owner, not so much the business owner.
Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, there are some compliance issues on this property with this, just the commercial operation. They do relate to the use permit conditions. There were 16 of them originally, and you're bringing up about 3 or 4 now that are an issue. But to be clear on the record, these are property owner requirements or items for the property owner to complete as opposed to the applicant for this use permit. Is that accurate?
Correct. Yeah, typically these are issues that would fall under the responsibility of the property owner.
Okay. So it's fair to say that's a code compliance issue with the owner and not the tenant.
Correct.
Okay.
And that is the approach that the city will take in trying to get compliance. We'll work with our code compliance division.
And I visited the site today and saw where this use is taking place in the one wing of the shopping center. I also noticed, which looks to be not abandoned, but inoperative large bus on the property. I wanted to bring that to staff's attention and add that to the record as a concern about whether that's a compliance issue or not. It certainly It doesn't seem to be like it's operated any recent time, and wanted to get that on the record.
Thank you. We will follow up on that. Thank you.
Okay. And I think that's all I had for you at the moment. I may need to call you back up. And thank you, Mr. Miller, unless you got anything else. Thank you. Okay, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone here, is the applicant here who would like to speak today? Please come on up. And welcome.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you
My
for
name
being
is-
here.
Thank you. My name is Nabil Ali. I'm the business owner, and I reside in Levine. As Mr. Dean said, that there was 16 conditions of approval when we took the property, and I believe we met as business about 12 or 13 of these conditions. One of the biggest issues is dealing with my landlord. And I explained to Mr. Dean earlier that he's got a lot of properties scattered all over the valley. He doesn't have enough manpower to take care of it. We had an issue with the AC, that he was supposed to be taking care of it, but he never showed up. I had to fix it on our own expense just so we could stay in business. One more thing that I'm willing to do, as I spoke to my architect the other day, is update the parking data on file.
Right, I
I'm
noticed
willing-
that condition.
Yeah, I'm willing to do that out of my expense. We'll pay for it. So we could, because I don't want no issues, with the city. Because when we walked in that plaza, we spent about $140,000 renovating the suites,
Oh.
And I have pictures of, if you allow me to show you, I could show you pictures of before and after. So we really want to stay in the suite. We really want to stay in Tempe. And as a matter of fact, we have another business that we submit plans with the city of Tempe, and we got approval for it. It's a coffee shop next door. But I don't know what should I do with my landlord. He's not responding. And regarding the bus on site, it doesn't belong to us, and it doesn't belong to the landlord. Someone used to rent the space, and he moved out, and he's parking his bus in the parking lot.
I see.
And not that we really like that, because a lot of people use it as a hide-up, and they shoot drugs behind that bus, and we try to scare them away and push them away, but it's not helping.
It kind of creates a bit of a nuisance by being there.
Yes.
Well, we share your concern with that. And thank you for reviewing your efforts to communicate with the landlord, the owner, I mean. I can understand staff is frustrated with him as well. Obviously, compliance issues. I do appreciate that you've complied with the conditions that you control, and I recognize that. So thank you. Anything else that you wanted to present today, or any information?
I just want it to be, because to be honest with you, last time I came for the hearing, I remember that there was a lady that opened up a smoke shop on Baseline. And I think when she came to the hearing, there was complaint, and you took the permit from her. So she's not allowed to operate. I don't want the same issue to happen with us, because the landlord is not responding.
And absolutely understand your concern.
Yes.
I'm not aware of any intent on the city to do that and to undo your use permit or invalidate it. So I don't believe that's in the cards or in the future on your case. I don't know if staff wants to comment on that further, but that's my understanding, that they recognize the issues on the property are the owner's issues that he's failed to correct versus things that you might have control over. So the city will continue to work with that owner to try to compel compliance, which should help your business as well. So thank you for being here today. Anything else?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Staff, you have anything else in supplement or comment you wanted to make before this case is decided?
Not really. We don't have any other comment. I think
Okay.
it's pretty obvious.
And is there anyone else in the chambers who'd like to speak on this case? This is a public hearing for compliance review. There's no one else in the chambers today. understanding, staff's recommending, has found that it's essentially in compliance, again, for the record, with the conditions that this applicant controls. I'm going to find that you are in compliance with your conditions of approval and you are good to continue operating. I do ask staff to please pursue code compliance with this property owner, not only to benefit the public, we may have some public safety issues there with inappropriate things going on, but at a minimum to benefit this business owner and his efforts to operate a successful business. So again, this request for approval, do I need to go, there's not findings or criteria, right, for this one? Steve, we're okay as is. Mr. Abrahamson? Okay. So again, you were found to be in compliance, and good luck with your business. Okay, that's our last item on today's agenda. The next meeting of the hearing officer will be on Tuesday, September 19th, 5 p.m. here in the City Council chambers, and today's meeting is adjourned.